It's a little clip here and a little clip there, but don't be afraid because our infamous philosophical farmer shows us just how to trim back your plants and maximize growth.
Welcome to this segment of the Philosophical Farmer. We're going to be talking today about pruning blueberries. Probably next to nutrition in the soil for blueberries, pruning is probably one of the most important things you can pay attention to on blueberry plants. Today we're going to be pruning this bush here. This is actually a legacy. That is the variety that it is. And we're using that as a demonstration because this is an excellent variety choice for the river valley, Portsmouth area, and really anywhere along the river valley. When I come to a bush like this bush is about 5 years old. And there's 2 or 3 things that we're looking at when we're pruning a bush. One is you want an adequate load of fruit left, but you also don't want it to be too heavy. You want to think about the structure of the bush for the future, and you want to open up the center so that you've got good light penetration. So the first thing we're going to do when we come to this bush is I'm going to try and get that center open up. I'm going to make a couple of major cuts down in the center. We're going to start today with this one here. See how that opens up that center? The other thing is you may notice that some of the ones that I'm cutting, they look a little bit older and the branches are smaller diameter, kind of twiggier. There's another one out of the center. Now this one here, because of its age, not a lot of big cuts to make on it. I'm going to make one more. Okay, that's going to be all my big cuts. The rest of it now is going to be done with my hand pruners. Now we're looking at removing more twiggy stuff. Trying to leave the larger diameter and also the branches that have the big fat buds on. Now a lot of folks may not realize this, but when you look at a blueberry bush, right here, these big fat buds are fruit buds. Behind them, you've got little tiny pointy buds. Those are leaf buds. So I know by looking at this plant, every bud that's going to develop into fruit. And what's amazing about this is every one of those buds, you take the end of this branch, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fruit buds, and every one of those fruit buds represents 6 to 8 different berries. So we certainly can sacrifice some of them. I come in here and I try and get some of the dead stuff out. A lot of times, I remember when I started when I was a kid, we kind of focused on making it into V's. So we would take the center out to open stuff up. I'm just going to go across the top of it here and do that. Another thing that you want to be doing is stuff that crosses back into the middle of the bush. You want to be removing that. We got a branch here, kind of spindly, and it goes right up there in the center. I'm going to take it out down here. Now that center has really opened up since we started, but that's good because you're going to get suckers that are going to shoot off of where we've made cuts, and it's going to fill that thing back out. And each year, we're going to try and take some more old wood and leave some of the younger wood to grow up and branch and so forth. Now here's a cut. A lot of people would be really hesitant to make this cut, but again, I'm looking to open it up. Covered with fruit buds, but we have still left plenty of fruit buds there. And when you eliminate some of the berries or some of the fruit buds, you actually allow the other ones to become to form a bigger berry. All right, we're getting close to done. This is a really simple bush. Right now, what I'm cutting out, they're spindly, older things, and I'm leaving the more vigorous growth. A lot of times when I'm pruning, I'm looking to get rid of some of the dead stuff that's in there. If there's no fruit buds at all on it, a lot of times I'll remove it because there's just not much vigor in that plant. This one's kind of crossing back into an area where I have plenty of fruit buds, so I'm going to just nip that back and just one more cut there. Make that a little bit less. Now here's a branch that goes off this way, but there's no fruit buds whatsoever on it, so we're going to remove that. And now you have a nice balance of fruit buds left on that branch. I would say that just about does it on that one. Get my hanging stuff out of there. Oh, we'll make another cut or two here. Still got a little crowding right here. I've also got some little shoots on the bottom that are way down there. They've got some fruit buds on, but it's not where anyone's going to pick them. The other thing is, when you make cuts at the bottom of the plant, a lot of times it'll stimulate some new growth. And like these, you can see they're a different color than the gray older wood. When you make a cut at the bottom, that stimulates that kind of growth, and it becomes a young, vigorous branch that you can then develop. So we're going to come down here and take out this little one, kind of spindly. It had some fruit on it, but not going to mount to anything. Now, one of the things I've learned over the years is you can keep cutting. You can always find one more thing to cut. But I'm satisfied with what we've got here in this pruning process, and it's time to move on to the next bush. I was thinking about what I wanted to share with you today as our philosophical thought. Now, I was thinking about why is it we prune? And we prune so that a bush becomes more fruitful. We prune to take all that energy that's going into old stuff and replace it with fresh energy. You know, our lives are a lot like that. A lot of times things come along and they get taken out of our lives and we think, oh man, I didn't want to lose that in my life. But as time goes on, we realize that that thing that we lost actually was taking up time and energy, and by losing it, our energy could go to something more valuable. So I wanted to leave you with that thought today. Pruning, sometimes though it's a painful thing, sometimes it's a great thing in our lives, and what replaces what is lost is far better than what was lost.